We bought this house as an off-market deal, had to put around $70,000 of work into it, and now we have it on the market, it's under contract, and we're doing our final walkthrough here. Let's talk about the changes we made. So first we painted the outside, gave it some curb appeal with some minimal landscaping. Obviously we cleaned out the property, and then we had a lot of water issues on the back of the house. And so on the back of the house, and also the roof was leaking. When we bought the house, the insulation was actually falling out. So we had to repair and replace some of the roof. There was actually two different roofs here. So we repaired one, replaced the other. And then there's this hill on the back of the house, and water was coming into this room and the bedroom next door. This is some kind of weird addition.
Man, there's like all kinds of water coming into here.
We had to do a little bit of retaining wall work, and we had to do a French drain on the back to get water moving around the sides of the house instead of into the house. So anytime water's hitting the back of the house, it's going to find its way in. And that's what had happened here, both on the ground and the ceiling. And we repaired all the drywall that had fallen. We ran continuous flooring throughout. You know, when you use LVP throughout the property, it gives the house more depth. It makes it feel bigger. Same thing here, a lot of water issues from the back of the house.
Something weird happened there on my foot.
And also from the ceiling, we had to do a lot of drywall repair. We had to do some mold remediation.
A samurai sword. Look at that.
At the bathroom, it was not part of our big three, and so we just continued the floor, and we made the shower a little bit nicer, put a new vanity in. That's a cold air return right there. We ran a new HVAC. When we bought the house, there was no HVAC whatsoever. You know, in a house like this, and really most of the time, we're targeting like first or second time home buyers. You know, we're not gonna do a super high-end finish because people aren't gonna be able to afford it if you go high-end. So we buy in these B-class areas. We try to put HVAC in. A lot of times when you buy these older houses like this, there's something like a stove that heats the whole house. Obviously that's not gonna do for a modern buyer. And then we have the kitchen. So similar treatment to all of our properties here. We had cabinets that were working, so we put new hardware on. We like to put hardware on throughout the house that matches. So the hardware on here, the sink faucets, the lights throughout the house, doorknobs, hinges, we replace all of it to match throughout the house. Butcher block, you seal it. It's the cheapest and fastest way to do a project like this. When you do stone, so stone is a little bit higher end, and once again, we're targeting like first and second time home buyers. It's higher end, it's more expensive, you can demand more money for it, but you also have to wait longer for it. And so there's less control when you're dealing with like a stone company. They have to come out to measure, then they have to come back to install. If things are moved at all, it messes up the whole thing. So with butcher block, you can go up to the store, buy butcher block, have carpenters cut in the sink, cut it to size. You know, you can make alterations if you need to. You know, this, like, it really sells well. People like butcher block in their house. Regular subway tile backsplash, that's what we do on most of our properties. Biggest issue on this house was the water intrusion, and that's because this house is on a hill. Anytime you buy a house on a hill, you have to be thinking that water is gonna be hitting the back of that house. And so how is the water getting around the outside of the house? If it's not getting around the outside of the house, it's going into the house. And that's what we dealt with here, and that's what you'll deal with anytime you have a hill that's pointing at your house. This was a classic DIYer special. So somebody had done additions on their own on this house, kind of cobbled it together, didn't know what they were doing. So we had a lot more to fix once we got into the project, but we were able to keep our expenses down under $70,000 for the renovation and came out on top on this house flip.